quick. But it's the 12th day of August, 2024 at 6:05 p.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Sir, Commissioner Dollison.
Here.
Commissioner Mercer.
Here.
Commissioner Dantzler.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yates.
Here.
And Mayor Birdsong.
Thank you. We will have an invocation by Pastor Charles Rich of Grace Lutheran Church. And we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk. Stand in favor.
I don't see
He's
Pastor
not here.
Rich this evening.
So, all right, we have a minister in here, so, and this will be a first.
I thought you were talking about Commissioner Yates.
Let us pray. God, we thank and praise your name and glorify you for this day and for this opportunity to gather once again in this chamber, Lord, to do the will that is set before us. We pray, oh God, you will give us guidance and direction. You will incline our hearts, oh God, to look unto you, the author and the finisher of our very faith. We thank you, oh God, for the community in which we live and Lord, try to do the best that we can as servants of you, oh God. We pray, dear Master, you will guide us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We pray, oh God, that all the efforts will be done here today, Lord, will meet your approval, dear Master. And we pray, dear God, we'll come together in unity and love. Lord, that this community may thrive and grow to be all that you intended for it to be. We ask these blessings tonight in the wonderful and powerful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Every heart said, amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor and Commissioners, we have three presentations that we'll offer to you this evening. Our first one, item 5A, is a proclamation congratulating and celebrating the retirement of Dave Carter with Carter K Engineering. I'm going to ask Dave to come to the podium if he would be so kind, and I'm going to ask Deputy City Manager MJ Carnevale to present tonight's proclamation.
Thanks. If you guys bear with me, I'm going to give Dave a hard time. We had to get the big paper out for this one, Dave, so just bear with us. Whereas Dave Carter grew up in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, earned a BS in civil engineering in 1977 from Penn State University, and moved to Central Florida shortly thereafter. Whereas beginning in 1979, Dave served as the city engineer for the city of Winter Haven. overseeing significant projects such as the 21st Street Northwest Extension, the First Street roadway drainage and traffic plan, major utility expansions, and developed lake monitoring plans amidst various ongoing day-to-day tasks of the city engineer's office. During this time, he acquired his license as a professional engineer, and whereas in 1983, he began a 9-year career with Pickett Associates in Bartow, ultimately becoming a partner as well as president and director of engineering. Leaving in 1992 to start his own firm in downtown Winter Haven, where he has served the businesses and residents of the area from the same location for over 30 years. And whereas as an accomplished professional, Dave has been recognized by the American Society of Civil Engineers as Young Engineer of the Year, and later Engineer of the Year, and was recognized as Florida Engineering Society's Engineer of the Year and achieved fellow status in that society. Was recognized by the Florida Home Builders Association with their Eagle Award, Associate of the Year, Builder of the Year, and was recently inducted into their Hall of Fame. And whereas Dave has been civically engaged in the community, serving multi-year terms as Winter Haven Youth Soccer Association coach, Cub Master for Pac 121, Scout Master for Troop 115, and as a Winter Haven High School band booster, as well as serving on the city's Zoning Board of Adjustment, County Stormwater Technical Advisory Committee, and many other local advisory and philanthropic and technical committees. And whereas at the state level, Dave has served as chairman of the Florida Department of Health's Research Review and Advisory Committee, guiding the improvement of septic systems statewide, serving as the Florida Home Builders Association president, focusing on affordable housing and sustainable building practices in his tenure, and served on the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Stormwater Technical Advisory Committee, guiding development of the recently adopted statewide stormwater rule update. And whereas in recent years, Dave has served the city as a trusted project advisor, and his fingerprints can be seen on many of the major projects completed in the last few years. 7th Street reconstruction, Fire Station 3, South Lake Silver Drive Complete Street, South Central Park, Lake Maude Sports Complex, Lake Conine Nature Park, Avenue C Complete Street, the Downtown Parking Piazza, Avenue K Complete Street, Pollard Road Extension, Lake Elbert Trail, and Chain of Lakes Park, just to name a few. Whereas Dave is an extremely patient and practical engineer with a penchant for seeing solutions where others see only challenges. He has mentored countless engineers, developers, and project managers in the community, leaving a legacy that will continue to grow and has had an immense impact on the city of Winter Haven throughout his 45-year career in the community. He truly embodies what it means to be exceptionally local. Now, therefore, Nathaniel J. Birdsong, Jr., Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby honor Dave Carter and offer his best wishes for a happy and fulfilling retirement on behalf of the City of Winter Haven. In witness whereof, he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 12th day of August 2024. Nathaniel J. Birdsong, Jr., Mayor, attests Vanessa Castillo.
There we go. Okay, very good. Mayor Birdsong, commissioners, very grateful for this honor and this recognition this evening. It means a lot to me. As some of you know, I've lived and worked in Winter Haven most of my adult life, and I've come to feel it's a very special place. Talk about all the touristy things, the lakes and the canals and downtown, that's all good stuff, but I think the people are what makes it a special place and why I've chosen to live here most of my adult life. A couple years ago, Mr. Hurst suggested that I should market my project management skills to other cities around the area. And I thought about it a while and thought, well, you know, the technical challenges are probably going to be about the same. But I thought about who I'd be working with, and I just wasn't too thrilled with working with other folks. I enjoy working with your team here and with the city, and just felt like it wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't have the fire in the belly and the interest to do that, so I chose not to do that. I've been fortunate in my tenure to work with some very talented people on your staff. They're a group of very professional, they're hardworking, they're very positive in their outlook. They have a can-do attitude, and that's frankly very contagious, and it's not, other organizations don't all have that. And frankly, it's made it a joy to work here, and I've enjoyed it very much working with your staff and with the city over the years. I think in my moving on to my next chapter, that's what I'm going to miss the most is the time spent with these folks. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm going to miss it. So with that, I'll be quiet, and thank you again, and wish everyone well here this evening.
right.
36 by 24.
1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect.
Thank you, David. And Dave, I think we still have your cell phone number, so expect a few phone calls. Some of those projects aren't quite done just yet. Our next item this evening, Mayor and Commissioners, you may recall that our law enforcement operations with the Winter Haven Police Department are accredited not only on a state level but on a national level. That is a commitment to upholding the highest standards, best management practices that you can find within law enforcement. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Assistant City Manager for Public Safety, Charlie Bird, to give a little update on our accreditation process and the congratulations of becoming accredited once again.
Thank you, City Manager. Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, I'm just going to do a real brief rundown real quick. I'm going to turn it over to David because this is kind of his baby and his outgoing feather in the cap, so to speak. That's not the word I was looking for, but anyway, as he exits in a very proud way of this leading our police department. But CALEA, as you have heard, we have, the police department has once again acquired international accreditation. You've heard we do it from the state, we do it from CALEA, that's the international version of it. And what's amazing here is we got this accreditation with 0 blemishes, 0, none. That's very rare. David and his team were very complimented at the CALEA conference that we had a few weeks back. And I just want to point out something that I think is really cool about this is that, Commissioner Dantzler has attended one of these with us, and he sees the value of it. And what it does is it shows the professionalism of your police agency, and that the policies that they have are absolutely the best. They follow the trends of what's the best practice, and that we do what we say we're going to do. And that's the thing that gives us the credibility within the community for what we are doing and how we're doing it. And I invited the whole team up here because it is a true teamwork effort. And that includes not just for the law enforcement. One of the things that they have is having proof of community relationship building and how that agency maintains those relationships. Well, guess what? We have those relationships within the community that are fantastic, and we have those relationships within the city team. That's what helps us get that accreditation, is it's not just the police department, it is the entire city team that we have. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Brannon for a few words, and I want to say congratulations to all these guys and girls for the fantastic job that they do every day.
Now the assistant city manager's already said everything, so he says he's gonna stay short, but y'all know Charlie. So, no, main thing I want to, as he said, it takes a whole team to do this. I do want to, Carla Neal, she's our accreditation manager. She's the one that keeps us on task. Sometimes that's with a carrot, most times with a stick. Making sure that staying up on those standards, our policies are up to date, and also getting all the proofs we're required to get from everybody. But it is a whole team event. It's not just one person. When this person came in March and did our on-site, and I believe he spoke to a couple from the commission, he didn't talk to command staff. He was out talking to all the other people, and they're always complimentary of how our people don't shy away, run away from these assessors, that they're open with them, talk with them, and honest with them. A couple of things they did point out, as he said, was our community relations, all the different things we're doing. Another thing I've never had him point out before, but I thought was very interesting and looks and very good for the city and our recruitment efforts we've been doing, was we have to put in demographics of the city, demographics of the police department, and the workforce. And they said our demographics workforce of the police department was the closest matching to the demographics of the city they've seen in a long time. So then they were wanting to get hints and tips from us, but that was a citywide effort, not just the police department, but it's about getting out in the community and, getting out there and letting people meet us and know us and want to come work at this city. So again, I just want to congratulate my team. That's not me, it's them that did this. I just make sure they get it done. So, and I want to thank you for this recognition.
As they make their way up there, here, as they make their way up there, there's one other thing I want to point out, that they asked us with the flawless assessment that we had, why we weren't going to, what is it, Premier Agency? They want us to start moving the bar up to the next level. And that was from the, what is it? Advanced accreditation. So I think that's a noteworthy comment as well.
Act like you like each other up there.
Hey Garrett, the camera's this way.
Over here.
Yeah.
All right. Now I can see everybody. All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect.
One more. One more. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, one more. So that is and I just point out, that's the second departmental accreditation that we accomplished this year. The first was the Public Works, which was their first one. This is a reaccreditation on the police department, and you will see efforts moving forward for accreditation within Parks, Recreation, and Culture, as well as within our fire department. So our goal is to have all of our departments accredited ultimately for the benefit of our citizens. Last item I have for you is to present to you our most recent graduates of the Certified Public Manager Program that is brought to us by the Florida State University. This is an advanced development program specifically targeting employees that are within municipal, county, and state government operations. The Florida State CPM program, well, you have CPM programs across the nation. The Florida State one here and the one here for the state of Florida is one of the most recognized and well-established programs in the entire country. Since our engagement in the program many years ago, we have now graduated with this cohort 59 of our employees through the CPM program. It is a 2-year curriculum that is broken up into 8 separate levels. Those levels each last a week long, so when these employees participate in this, 4 different weeks throughout each of those 2 years, they will be gone from us and stuck in a classroom learning all kinds of interesting and useful techniques and skills to help them in their positions. Of those 59 graduates that we've had since we began participating in the program, 30 of them are still with the city. Some of them have either moved on to other organizations or have retired. But it's with great pleasure that I present to you the folks that graduated this last Thursday. Those include Lieutenant Garrett Boyd with the Winter Haven Police Department. These are photos from their graduation ceremony. Carlos De Jesus, who is the Assistant Superintendent for Parks, Recreation, and Culture in our Parks and Grounds Division. Sonny Emery, our Chief of Fire, sorry. I'm really into the public safety model. I was going to make you the police chief tonight. Dustin Everett, Natural Resources Manager. And last but not least, Katrina Hill, Director of Public Affairs and Communication. So I'd like to congratulate them. This is no easy task to get through this. These are college level, master level programs that they're going through. So we want to congratulate them this evening. As they're making their way up for a photo opportunity with you, I'll tell you that we have another cohort of, I think, 5 or 6 students, employees, that will graduate next August. They are wrapping up year 1, and we have already lined up the next group of cohort members that will follow that group. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, anytime.
Now, I want to say something about Kalia real quick.
Okay.
So before we begin, I want to give a quick comment about Kalia, because I am one of the one of the lucky ones that actually got to go to one of the conferences up in Baltimore when I was first elected mayor. They flew me up there, and that was when Charlie Byrd was the chief and David was the deputy chief. And I got to tell you, this thing with Kalia, until you see it, you don't realize what a big deal it is and how sought after this designation is, and how to get this thing with no blemishes is really, really a big deal. So I want to congratulate you guys. And I told the story once, but we started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you got to go through all the interviews and stuff. But by 10 o'clock, we were done. So it was time to go off and enjoy Baltimore and have some fun. But none of our people would leave. They all wanted to stay and support Lakeland and everybody else who was up there, and they stayed till the bitter end. And then we celebrated that night. And that's how I really got to know David. After a couple of pops and a cigar or two, he opened up a little bit. You know how he talks so much. So we got to know each other, and I'm really proud of you, David. Here you go off, into the sunset with no blemishes in Kalia. So bravo to you and to your team. You guys did great. You make us proud. And I just want you to understand that I know what a big deal it is, and I'm trying to relay that onto the commission, what a big deal this is. So bravo. Good job.
All right, we have no developments of note. Commissioners, you have the minutes. Entertain a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve 3 sets of minutes from July 17th, City Commission Special City Meeting, City Commission Agenda Review, and regular City Commission meeting minutes.
Thank you. I will close the city commission meeting, open a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to these minutes may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Here none. The minutes are adopted. We have no comments from the audience, but if there's anyone that would like to address this commission that didn't sign up, you may do so at this time. All right. Ordinance is second reading. We have none. So we have the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
Thank you. I will close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone from the public that would like to speak to any item on the consent agenda may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign. Hearing none, the consent agenda is adopted. Resolution R 2434, which read by title only, city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-24-34, a resolution confirming the acceptance of improvements, infrastructure, and dedications in favor of the public city of Winter Haven as notated on that certain plat entitled Villamar Phases 6 and 6D, recorded in the office of the clerk of the circuit court in Fort Polk County, Florida, in Plat Book 203, pages 7 through 17, Public Records of Polk County, Florida, and authorizing the city manager to release the performance bond posted to guarantee completion of required improvements in infrastructure. The general location, subdivision is generally located east and west of Rialto Road and east of the CSX Railroad line. Thank you.
Thank you, city manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, VMAR DEV LLC requests the commission accept certain improvements and dedications in favor of the public in the city of Winter Haven as noted on the plat for Villamar Phases 6 and 6D. This includes 116.36 plus or minus acres containing 443 building lots and 16 common lots. Within Villamar Phases 6 and 6D, all water lines, sewer lines, reuse lines, and related infrastructure will be owned and maintained by the city. All internal roadways, street lighting, and all stormwater-related infrastructure will be owned and maintained by the Villamar Community Development District. Rialto Road and its associated sidewalks and street lighting will be owned and maintained by the city. The developer submitted a performance bond issued by Lexon Insurance Company in the amount of $2,014,911.42 to guarantee completion of required infrastructure and improvements for the subdivision. Recent inspections by staff found all incomplete improvements are now complete and have passed all required tests and certifications, and the water, wastewater, and reuse lines can now be accepted by the city. Staff recommends City Commission approve Resolution R-24-34. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve R-24-34.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to speak to this resolution may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes by the same sign. Hearing none. R-2434 is adopted. R-2436, would you read by title on the city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-24-36, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, consolidating the 2015 construction fund and the 2021 construction fund to one capital projects fund, providing for severability, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, the city currently has two active construction funds, the 2015 Construction Fund and the 2021 Construction Fund. To improve operational efficiency, enhance the budget and reporting processes, as well as increase transparency, staff recommends the two separate construction funds be consolidated to one single capital project fund. The combination of funds will streamline the budget process, the annual audit, and financial reporting, including arbitrage reporting. The consolidation of the two construction funds will also enhance the budget amendment process in regards to the city's general fund surplus at year end. Upon completion of the financial statements for fiscal year ending September 30th of 2024, it is proposed the 2015 Construction Fund and the 2021 Construction Fund be consolidated to the Capital Projects Fund. The city's financial system has the functionality to track each project housed within the existing funds and related funding to be in compliance with reporting disclosures. There's no financial impact associated with this action. Staff recommends City Commission adopt Resolution R-24-36, consolidating the 2015 Construction Fund and the 2021 Construction Fund to a single capital projects fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve Resolution R-24-36.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution may do so at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing, reopen the commission meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposes by the same sign. Hearing none, R-2436 is adopted. All right, ordinances, first reading, O-2423. We will have the second reading on August 26th. O-2423, would you read by title on the city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-23, an ordinance amending the Winter Haven Code of Ordinances, Chapter 21, Article Roman numeral 7, Section 21-439, Site Plans, for the purpose of updating the site plan review process, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing severability, providing for codification, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, Eric Labby, our Director of Economic Opportunity and Community Investment, will present this item this evening.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Mayor, Commissioners, the city has used a site plan review process since approximately 1998. The current section defining the process, which is Section 21-439, was formally adopted into the Land Development Code in 2001. In the mid-2000s, the city began review of site plans through electronically through Project Doc software. However, the formal review process found in this section of code was never updated. Given it's been 20 years since the adoption of the city's formal site plan review process, and with the implementation of electronic review software, Staff has determined an update to this section is appropriate. The major modifications include defining the 4 types of site plan reviews, eliminating requirements for hard copy site plan submittals, adding minimum standards for the preparation of site plans, increasing the length of time for an approved site plan, that an approved site plan is valid from 12 months to 18 months, and allowing for a single 12-month extension, and addressing suspended and abandoned development projects. The Planning Commission did hear this on July 9th, 2024, and unanimously recommended approval of this request. There were no public comments, and staff does recommend approval of ordinance O-2423.
Okay, thank you. As I stated previously, the second reading will be on August 26th. However, if there's anyone that would like to speak to this ordinance, you may do so at this time. All right.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes.
As I read this, as I look through this, Eric, I see that you drew a line through a lot of stuff. You struck through anything, and normally I thought we were going to have red line for things that were new. I don't see any red lines. Is there anything new on here or change that we need to be aware of?
There are 2 new items. We struck through the whole section because it really was a complete rewrite.
That's great. I
But
love striking through.
Yeah, the 2 new items would be the change that would increase the length of time for an approved site plan.
What number
Current-
letter would that be?
It is, I don't know if I highlighted it.
While he's looking for that, Commissioner Ennis, I will tell you that everything is underlined, beginning with item A on page 6 of 15. So you can see that all of that is the complete rewrite going forward.
So this is a complete rewrite. This is not just taking a few things out where a red line wouldn't really help us, because I like the red line where it shows us what you changed. So this is all brand new?
It's essentially brand new, yeah, because it outlined, the old code talked about hard copy submittals, and it didn't talk about electronic reviews at all. The two new sections that we're adding are, currently a site plan is good for 12 months. We want to increase that to make it good for 18 months. Currently, you can ask for an unlimited number of site plan approval extensions. In other words, if the developer says, hey, I haven't built this yet, but I want to ask for an extension to my site plan review, they can keep asking so long as code requirements haven't significantly changed. We want to change that to 1 single 12-month extension. Beyond that, you have to come back through the process. And then addressing suspended or abandoned development projects, which would be page 14 and 15 of Exhibit A. So that talks about if a developer, if a project has stopped construction activities for a period of 6 months or greater since the last inspection date, the developer shall comply with the following, and it outlines that they have to schedule a meeting with the city engineer, they have to repay engineering inspection fees, and remove any pressurized pipe that has been in the ground for longer than 9 months. And then if a project is considered abandoned, and that's where we define it as construction activities have ceased for a period of 18 months, then they have to basically come back through the entire process.
That's great. All sounds reasonable. I'm just one commissioner, but I like red lines whenever you're changing stuff. It makes sure it does make it a lot easier to see so I don't have to read every last word.
Yes, sir.
So,
Noted. Yes, sir.
Wait till you see ordinance O-2433. That'll be next, maybe in the next couple meetings. Be great. A lot of red line.
And don't go overboard, Jeff.
All right. Ordinance O-2430, we will have a public hearing because this is going to be submitted to DOC. So would you read by title on the city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-30, an ordinance amending ordinance 23-25, the 2035 Winter Haven Comprehensive Plan, by revising the future land use map series by assigning neighborhood suburban future land use to an annexed parcel, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. The general location, a parcel generally located north of Ware Avenue Northeast and south of Lake Smart. The area covered by this request is 56.74 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, Mr. Labby will present this item as well as ordinance 2431, which is the companion to it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Ordinance O-2430 is a request by Shelton Rice to assign neighborhood suburban future land use to a recently annexed parcel. The subject property is 56.74 acres and was annexed into the city on April 8th, 2024. The petitioner proposes to develop the property with approximately 3.7 units per acre of single-family residential units. Properties zoned R3 and located within central urban core are permitted to be developed up to 15 units to the acre. However, when R3 development standards, rights-of-way stormwater requirements, and the existing Duke easements are considered, it would be unlikely for the subject property to be developed at the maximum permitted density. As these requests contain a large-scale future land use amendment, review by the Florida Department of Commerce and other state and local agencies is required. Surrounding uses include Citrus Groves, Hilltop Church of Christ, and single-family residential to the south, single-family residential to the west, and Lake Smart to the north. Additionally, around Lake Smart, there are 2 townhome developments, Winter Ridge and Lake Point Landing, and 1 multifamily development, the Villas of Lake Smart. The infrastructure demands are noted in your fact sheet. We have adequate capacity and all supporting infrastructure. At this time, public school availability will be determined at the time of site plan approval through cooperation with Polk County Public Schools. Prior to annexation, the Polk County land use for the subject parcel was residential low 3, RL3, and a small portion of RL1. The requested neighborhood suburban land use is consistent with the surrounding city uses and designations. All public notification requirements were met. There is no financial impact. The Planning Commission did hear this on July 9th, 2024 at their regular meeting and voted to recommend approval of this request. 8 members of the public did speak with concerns related to traffic, potential noise, impacts to Lake Smart, density, and safety. Staff's conclusion reveals that the assignment of the neighborhood suburban future land use designation and R3 zoning district is consistent with surrounding uses and designations, and that there is sufficient public infrastructure to accommodate the proposed development. Staff does recommend the city approve ordinance O-2430 on first reading and transmit to the Florida Department of Commerce and other state and local agencies for review. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion on O-2430 for approval and public hearing.
Thank you. I will now close the commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this ordinance may do so at this time. Seeing none, yes. Would you state your name and address for the record, please? You have 5
I will.
minutes.
For the record, Shelton Rice, I'm an attorney with the law firm of Peterson and Myers, address 225 East Lemon Street, Lakeland, Florida. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak briefly with you. I will do my very best to be brief. Mr. Labby covered our request pretty succinctly. We're asking for the future land use designation that we believe is most appropriate, particularly when you look at the future land use map and the other surrounding future land use designations. Additionally, we're asking for an R3 zoning. We believe that's consistent with what you see with other developments along Lake Smart and some of the planned unit developments that have been approved in the area. I'm happy to go through the presentation. There's a large Duke easement that's located along our southern boundary and western boundary where we're adjacent to existing single-family homes. That's about 100 feet in width, so there'll be a pretty substantial separation from any of the existing residents from any new proposed development that we anticipate. Having said that, the intent here is not to develop at the maximum intensity of 15 units per acre. This is really consistent, and it's actually the same developer that did the project on the old Bartow Lake Wales Road site, where we asked for the same entitlements, the same future land use, the R3 zoning, and I believe there's been applications submitted on that project for a single-family detached development with 50-ish foot wide lots, some 40-foot wide lots, consistent with kind of our statements at that time. So Having said that, I'll be glad to answer any questions. I would respectfully request if there are any comments from the public that I be given a moment to respond in rebuttal. Thank you.
I don't believe there was any building on the lake side, was it?
I'm sorry?
Are they going to build anything on the lake itself?
So, in complete fairness and honesty, this is not subject to a binding site plan, so we don't have that. However, if you look at the second to last slide, I believe that we provided, there is a rough concept plan that's included. And if you study that closely, you can see the intent is for there to be a stormwater pond closest to Lake Smart, so that'll provide some separation from the developed lots from the actual lake. This site has a lot of topo changes or topographical changes. It peaks in the middle and goes up to about 70 foot higher than what it is on the boundaries. So given those constraints, the substantial fill and issues that are plaguing the development there, the intent is that stormwater pond will likely be located closest to the lake.
How many lots is that on this slide?
It's approximately 210 units. That number certainly could change. It equates to about a 3.7 units per acre. Given the future land use designation of neighborhood suburban that we're requesting, when you compare it to the traditional neighborhood area, and Mr. Lavin, please correct me if I misstate that, but the traditional neighborhood area contemplates density between 4 units and 25 units per acre. And the neighborhood suburban that we're asking for allows us to have a little lower density. So it's between 2 and 15. The minimum actually bumps up a little given our proximity to transit, but in short, it's a lesser intensive future land use designation than what's on the neighboring properties to our west and south.
So help me understand that. You're in the yellow line, it says 2.01 units per acre neighborhood suburban, which is what you're asking for. But you're showing us 100, about twice that much.
That's the minimum. Yes, sir, I'm sorry. That's the minimum density. So the minimum residential density that we can have under that future land use designation is 2. And we're proposing, we can go up to 15 units per acre. That's not this developer's intent. That's not what they're proposing to do. And I provided another example of this client doing something very similar in a different area in the
You're
city.
telling me this is 150? How many, 200 houses, 200 lots here?
Yes, sir. Approximately 210. And that green area on that concept plan indicates the Duke easement area, which has substantial limitations as far as what development could occur in that. So providing a separation that will exist from the existing residents.
Eric, this is a question for Eric. All right, we're going to phrase this, but is it normal to have that big of a swing? You know, if you look at R3, it's 2 to 15. So technically, they could go up to 15, or another developer may come in one day and say, I'm going to take this thing to 15, and they would certainly be within their rights to do that. Is it normal to have that wide of a range in there, or is it possible to ratchet that even within what R3 is, for example, and say, okay, if they're intending on doing 4 point whatever per acre, could we not cap them at that, and then any change would have to come back before us, or does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. This request is for standard city residential zoning, and that is fairly typical within municipalities to have a range, because municipalities, the expectation is you're a city, and you're going to develop more urban in nature than a county. County will have less of a range of densities available within their land use or their zoning categories for those counties that have zoning. So it's fairly typical for municipalities to have a wider range. The only way you can really nail down and cap somebody at something that is lower than what's allowed in your standard land use or zoning districts is go through a PUD process. PUDs, by definition, in our code, are required to be innovative. They're required to have standards that are above and beyond what our standard land development code regulations are. In this case, this is a fairly typical residential subdivision at densities expected within the city, and so that doesn't really meet the qualifications for a planned unit development. However, I would note that when these developments come through the site plan review process, they very rarely can meet the maximum densities due to stormwater requirements, and in particular on this site, the Duke easement. That's all going to be open space that is calculated in their density number, but they can't use it. And so reaching the maximum, on this particular site is likely not possible.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I will close the public hearing and reopen the city commission meeting. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposes by the same sign.
Aye.
So 2 opposed and 3.
Yeah, that, the record will reflect that there were 3 votes to transmit and 2 votes to oppose the transmittal. I would remind the commission, as you well know, that this is just a transmittal. Voting for it means you're simply allowing it to be transmitted to the Department of Commerce. Doesn't mean it'll come back for an adoption public hearing.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Ordinance O-2431, would you read by title only, city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-24-31, an ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, by assigning multifamily residential low-density R-3 zoning district to an annex parcel, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located north of Ware Avenue Northeast and south of Lake Smart. The area covered by this request is 56.74 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric is going to take this one.
Yeah, this is just a companion ordinance that pertains to the zoning.
So, all right.
This does not require a vote.
It does not require a vote.
No, the only thing that's being transmitted is the land use ordinance, which was ordinance O-2430. So this
Okay.
one is just a companion zoning ordinance, which will come back.
All right, it'll come back to us on, well, when the
An
other one-
adoption, whenever
At
the
adoption.
land
All
use.
right. Good enough. All right. Resolution O-2432. Would you read by title only, city attorney?
Ordinance number O-24-32, an ordinance amending the Winter Haven Code of Ordinances, Chapter 21, Article Roman numeral 3, Section 21-142, number of spaces, and Chapter 21, Article Roman numeral 8, Division 3, Development Boards, for the purpose of supporting development of affordable housing and cleanup of existing language, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing severability, providing for codification, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City manager?
Mr. Labby will present this item this
All right.
evening, sir.
All righty.
Sir, Mayor, Commissioners, as part of our affordable housing effort and supporting the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee's actions to review and adopt 11 strategies around affordable housing incentives that are allowed by the state of Florida, we have presented this ordinance that will accomplish the following. Revising Section 21-142 to establish a reduced parking requirement of 1.5 parking spaces per unit for those developments containing affordable housing, and capping the maximum number of required bicycle spaces. Making some revisions to the Planning Commission Section 21-461 to update the language relating to the appointment of members and procedures. Section 21-462, updating language addressing the appointment of development special magistrate. And also Section 21-464 to address expedited review and fee waivers for development projects containing affordable housing. As this request does reduce or waive certain application fees for affordable housing projects, there may be some minor reduction in revenues from application fees. It's anticipated to be less than $10,000 annually. This is an ordinance pertaining to the the amendment of the city's comprehensive plan, which is enacted to implement requirements contained in Part 3, Chapter 163 of Florida statutes. Therefore, they are exempt from providing a business impact estimate. The Planning Commission did hear this on July 9th, 2024, and unanimously voted to recommend approval of this request. There were no public comments. Staff does recommend approval of ordinance 02432. And as you may note, it is redlined and struck through.
Okay, thank you.
You the man.
All right, we will have our second reading on August 26th. However, if anyone would like to speak to this ordinance, you can do so at this time. All right. New business, we have none. Commission liaison reports. Commissioner Dazzler.
Kind of a slow week for me. I had grandkids in town, brought them up here, and MJ got to see him up here talking on the microphone, but, so I spent a week with grandkids. But I did go and had interviewed on Bay News 9. I don't know if anybody saw it or not, but I'm getting a couple of texts from people that saw that, so that was kind of interesting. We had Arts and Culture County meeting, and last was Christmas in July. This was out at the Marriott out on Cypress Gardens Boulevard. Tracy, you were there, weren't you? Nope, I think I was the only one there. Anyway, Christmas in July, first time I've actually been in that hotel. It was good to see it, so that's it for me.
Commissioner Dollison.
I had the privilege, of course, of liaison for the planning board, and they had a packed house. I thought it was in the wrong meeting. They came in and they were in overflow, so that was quite interesting to experience that. Good exchange from the citizens of the city. Also attended the arts here. Really enjoyed the artwork. Some of it still, of course, in the building here. And I think Commissioner Mercer and I had opportunity to, he gave us a chance to speak. So we were honored and to award those who were noted for their outstanding work. And so take full advantage of that if you haven't already.
Commissioner Dawson, if I could just interrupt you for 1 second, I do want to pass around, we got a nice thank you card from one of the artists that I'll share with the commission, and it's signed on the back. It's a piece of art, but also the program from that evening, so you can all take a look at that.
Good. I also indicated that I would enter a piece of art in the next go-around.
Oh, this is from Tina. Oh, good.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Commissioner Mercer.
Yes, I attended the Employee Diversity and Inclusion Team, the 4th annual luncheon. They always go way out, so and it's good to get to meet those on the team. The Ridge Art City Hall, I was here, and we already heard about that. And this was a light week, or light 2 weeks for me, so that, I probably have forgotten some, but that's all I have right now.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
I'll just note.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'll just note that I attended the TPO board meeting late last week, and I look forward to attending the Florida League of Cities Conference the remainder of this week, working with municipalities across the state to really put forth our legislative agendas, especially in the taxation and finance arena, which I'm the representative for that committee, and just kind of reiterating the importance of home rule across the board this week. So,
All right. All right. I had a few things. Attended the TPO meeting, chaired the Central Florida Regional Planning Council meeting, attended the Florida Association of Community Agencies, and attended the Diversity and Inclusion Luncheon, and finally, the Winter Haven EDC meeting. And so Bruce would not let us know that there was somebody else coming, but he's always teasing us, but won't let us know anything. So there's something on the horizon, hopefully. That's it. City Attorney,
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
City Manager.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple items, if I could. On your agenda this evening, you approved our use agreement with Theater Winter Haven. Want to extend my appreciation for that. That is, obviously, as the fact sheet said, we've had a very loose agreement with Theater Winter Haven for over 50 years. And we also approved this evening, you did, the addendum, which calls out for the operation of the Ritz Theater. I did want to point out that Dan Chesnica is with us this evening in the audience, and I didn't know if the commission had any questions regarding the Ritz. I will tell you that they are in the process of doing significant improvements on the inside, particularly with the rise of the seat, the seating arrangement, as well as bringing in new seating and accommodations for the guests that we'll have in that building, and has a very robust schedule of activities that will commence sometime in September. We'll get underway, and we'll take a few months to ramp fully up, but looking forward to see the activation of that space. But just want to extend appreciation to Dan and Theater Winter Haven, and certainly give you the opportunity for any questions if you had any. We talked a lot in recent meetings about the strategic plan. I will tell you that we have received now the staff version of the strategic plan, much thinner. As you can see, this will be, we'll begin handing those out to employees tomorrow and over the next couple weeks as we go around and share some insights on the plan as well as on the budget with them. And then also in a much smaller version, this version is the citizen copy of the strategic plan. This will actually get its first distribution, I believe, next Tuesday as we kick off City U, the third cohort of that program. I believe that should be on your schedules to make an appearance. That will be at the Women's Club next Tuesday evening. Very much looking forward to that. We had, I think Katrina told me, over 100 individuals that applied to be involved in this cohort of City U. So we're excited to get that program underway. There are some changes within it this year that we're excited to unveil, and looking forward to that and for you all to be a part of it. As with the rest of you, I believe, except for perhaps Commissioner Dancer, I will be traveling along with Katrina Hill to Hollywood, Florida for the Florida League of Cities. I believe our intent is to arrive there Wednesday evening and stay until midday on Saturday. So look forward to learning in that environment with all of you. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, one other thing, sorry. Thank you, MJ. We do have a project underway that will be issuing an RFQ, a request for qualifications for design build services. This is for the former Fire Station 1, which is to the north of this building, opposite, right beside Trailhead Park. That building has been vacant for some time. That is being, the intent is for that to be renovated to house our building official and building division operations. We need much more space than what we presently have. That is a budgeted project, so we are looking to see if the commission would like to designate a liaison to serve on that RFQ selection committee.
Any volunteers?
I'll do it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Yates.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Deputy City Manager,
Nothing this evening, sir. Thank you.
City Clerk,
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Deputy City Clerk in the back. All right.
Just had a question, I guess.
Emergency matters not received for the agenda, so you have a
Thank you, sir.
question.
Yeah, I guess for Dan and some of the improvements that you're making with the Ritz. And I guess with ADA, the challenge of that building, I guess, that is one of the challenges of being able to access the area for persons, with challenges. Is there anything that can be done, or is in consideration with regards to that? Or
The short answer is no. For those of you who haven't been to the Ritz lately, you will notice that if you come in the front, you immediately come up to a set of stairs, and that is the primary entrance to the building. The alternative for those who are mobility impaired is to come around to the back side of the building and enter through the alleyway between the Ritz and the parking garage. Our intent is to set up some tents there to make it a little bit better of an experience for people who are forced to come in through that way. That is the only ramp, and and only the first 3 levels of the Ritz are accessible to any guests who have mobility issues. That will still be the case. We don't know a way to mitigate that, certainly in the short term, but that is something that is on our list for long-term improvements.
So chair lift or anything like that, the staircase wouldn't be wide enough to deal with that?
I don't know what all of the alternatives could be, but I can tell you that in the month that we have to be able to do it and the budget that we're working with, I don't have an ability to look at elevators or chair lifts or anything of that sort.
Levitation.
Easy.
What seating capacity are you probably looking at?
We're aiming for a seating capacity of 330 in our new design.
When's your first event? You got one already planned, or?
The first event will be internal, which will be the Theaters Pro Awards, which we'll be doing on August 31st. That's our deadline to get all of the new tables, chairs, and benches built. Our inspiration for the improvements that we're doing there are like a cruise ship or a dinner theater that you would see across the country. So every seat will have a table, you'll be able to have meals there, you'll be able to have drinks there, and every seat will be able to face forward toward the audience. We're also adjusting the sight lines on the levels throughout, so every seat will have a good view of the stage rather than having multiple rows of seats on the same level, so you're just looking in the back of everybody's head. So we've been working on that. That should all be done, we hope, by the end of August. And then we plan to have a series of town halls and invite you all to come out and check out the place throughout the month of September. Our first scheduled event is September 24th. We haven't advertised that yet or put it on sale yet because we first have to have the seating plan to be able to load into our ticketing system to then be able to sell the tickets. But September 24th is the date that we are looking for, which is a Tribute Tuesday, part of the series that we used to do over at Theater Winter Haven that we're now bringing over to the Ritz.
Just a question. Do you have any plans, or have you started to work with any of like the downtown businesses or restaurants to have some sort of like dinner and show package, or is that kind of?
Just very, very cursory. No, we don't have any of that locked in. We do have the ability to do some catering right in the building itself. So part of what we've gotten some grants for are like a brunch package that we will be able to do right there at the Ritz. So it will be a dinner or breakfast and a show. And a variety series, which would include a dinner right there at the Ritz. So there's still a lot of work to be done on making sure that we can have dinner packages for those off nights that we go on through.
I'm just hoping maybe we could combine something along the lines, and this is your show, so I'm not trying to jump, just an idea, throwing it out there. But maybe we could work with Main Street and get the downtown businesses involved to say, you know, buy a ticket for the show and bring that ticket and get 20% off your retail purchase, or
Yeah,
10% off dinner.
Anita and I have something scheduled this week to kind of get together and discuss all that. And we're, of course, piggybacking on any of the city events and/or Main Street events that are happening downtown as well to participate that in a substantial way. So, yeah. We've built a kind of a calendar that gets us through the entire fiscal year. So for us, September to the end of August, we're kind of looking at how we ramp up. Perhaps one time when it's a little bit more appropriate, I could walk you through everything that we're kind of doing and kind of give you a look at the whole schedule and the strategy on what we're doing there. Because the intent, as we've said many times, the intent is not that the Ritz be successful. The intent is that the Ritz is successful in bringing traffic downtown to help all of those supporting businesses in the downtown corridor. So we're looking at different times, and when we're doing our shows, that they alternate to try and maximize on that and to dump as many people as we can out into Main Street so those businesses can thrive.
Do you anticipate having a liquor license? Or
Yes.
just- You have a liquor, you will?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Nope. All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.